look, we are Golive.
Hosanna to the highest.
Et cum spirituo.
I'm reminded with this Thanksgiving weather what the winter is like in Los Angeles. The sun doesn't come out, temperatures in the 60s, and the rain comes down like this, and then that's it.
uh, and tis it doing that there?
I must have missed the rain part because now it just looks like rain, and then it won't rain. There's a magical thing that happens at Point Concepcion on the California coast near Santa Barbara. The weather, no matter how bad it was in Seattle, no matter how wet it was in San Francisco, no matter how drenched it was in San Luis Obispo, gets to Point Concepcion and it goes no, it can't get past Oprah's house. All right, who knows why? It just cannot get past that spot on the map. And so the rain that we were promised, threatened with, and the storm watch was initiated for, is still not come.
Well, that's when you mess up with the TV news in LA like that, you've made yourself an enemy. You could talk about everything you want to talk about in the world, but if you cross, um, I don't know, I don't even know the anchors what was that guy's name? Had the nice hair, Chuck. No, not Chuck Scarborough. He's retiring actually.
Chuck
But
Henry?
yes, thank you, thank you.
No,
Um,
he's no longer on Channel 4.
well, where did go? Where did those guys go? Did they just sit at a coffee shop on La Cienega
They
and
offed
just,
him.
just sit at a table and look good?
He said, "We're making some cuts. We're going in a slightly different direction, Chuck."
See ya. Been fun. Um, by the way, he is Michael Knight. He is down in Los Angeles, California. I'm New York Vinnie. I'm up here in beautiful Seattle, Washington, where the skies are gray, but it's all sunshiny in my book because family is in town and, I'm feeling good. So, and we are Michael Knight, New York Vinnie, known as Mikey and Vinnie on your internet. We come to you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 10:10 or thereabouts. See, we're old and retired, so we don't have to be there at 10:10. The thing says 10:10, but if we
We
get
don't want
there
to
at
do.
10:15,
What do you want to do?
you're still going to be there, right?
You
Right.
can call your lawyer and sue us. You can call her.
Well, you could sue us for all you want, but I would imagine that you wouldn't get too far.
Blood from a stone would be easier to extract than money
Yeah,
from Mikey and Vinny.
wasn't blood from a stone like a oh no, that was Bloodstone. That was a band.
Not much of a band, but a band. I'm sure they meant well. They just didn't quite have that hit.
Well, they had one hit, what was it, Natural High, which was, well, that
There's a
take,
conflict. That's a conflict in terms.
yeah, I guess. Well, no, Natural High, why would that be a conflict in terms?
Well, is it natural? Yes. Then it's a high? Yes. And how did you get that high? I got it naturally. Well, what does that mean? Without the aid of drugs? Yes. I call bogus. I call a bogus song title. And that's only because of my past experience with trying to get high without drugs. So far, I'm striking out. By the way, I want to say goodbye to Blake Schnell from the San Francisco Giants, who's now a Los Angeles Dodger, because we didn't make a bid for him.
I
He
was,
pitched
I
he
was,
pitched pitched a no hitter for us, and we decided, what do we need this guy for? What do we need a pitcher for? We got 8 guys. We can make the Dodgers provide their own pitcher when we play them.
I was going to go there at some point. I figured I wanted you to get settled in. And I'm sure yesterday, upon you hearing the news, it just wasn't the news you wanted to hear.
Why do we even entertain the idea of keeping our best starter? Why? To what end? I don't think the Giants are going to approach this next season as being a non-competitive member of the National League West. All this gravitas and money being spent and careers being threatened and people being hired and fired. What's the point? Let's just be non-confrontational, non-competition, a completely different outlook on the game of baseball. You win, we win. What difference does it make? Let's just play and enjoy the game. We'll enjoy it less than you because you're going to win.
Well, it certainly sounds like a heck of a way to run a baseball team. Um,
Baseball, it's a baseball team, but not so much what you would call a competitive endeavor. Just as long as you understand that, I think we're gonna have a great time. Y'all come out to the ballpark now.
well, that's the thing is baseball has figured out, just like many other industries and political campaigns have figured out that you don't need all of that winning stuff to get people to come out to the ballpark or come to a rally or all of that kind of stuff. You don't. You just need to entertain people. You need to entertain, and if that most people, if you get a crowd of 35 or 40,000 in your ballpark, 30,000 of those could give a crap less about war and I'm talking about WAR, wins after replacement, and other stats like that, and other things, or wins and losses, um, or
Or
learning the
even
lessons of the game.
even runs batted in don't mean that much to them because they're
Right.
so few and far
What
between.
do
What's the
they
point of
care about? What do they line up for?
the beer races in Milwaukee? The little
Bobbleheads.
yeah.
if you if you gave bobbleheads out all 81 of your home games, you would more than likely sell a place out every night.
I tell you, Johnny LeMaster bobblehead night with "boob" written on the back of his jersey.
Well,
You want to
then
sell
I
the
will
place
ask
out?
you, if
That,
that happens, does that mean that Jose Uribe gets two bobblehead nights?
yes, he gets the one for Jose Uribe, and then he gets the player to be named later bobblehead. And we'll name him whatever you want. We could name him Bob Smith for all that. Ooh, howdy doody. I do apologize, Mr. Smith. Buffalo
Yeah.
Bob Smith. You could
How
name
about
him. You could
how
name him
about
Vinnie. No one would care. It would be all the better.
McIntosh? How about Jose McIntosh?
It's not taken. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know that there's any major leaguer that's ever been named McIntosh.
I think that would be a
It
bat
gives,
maker, the great Macintosh.
yeah. I mean, it's um uh a good white guy name.
It's Scottish, isn't it? Is it a
Yeah, I think
Scotsman?
it is Scottish. McIntosh. So yeah, I think you got all of that going for it. Yeah, he could have two bobblehead nights. But you see, Mikey, to me, that's what's going on here. Is you don't have you don't have all of the major promotions and this and that and the other thing. That's all what's bringing people out to the ballpark. If you sat there and waited for just um, hardcore baseball fans to show up like us, you'd have 6,000 people in the stands every night complaining about the price of beer, even if it was a buck 50.
Of course we would. Would
And
we care if we had a winning team? Would we be even interested in the idea of wins and losses or where we are in the standings? I don't know. I can't imagine that the Giants have given that any consideration.
well, it certainly doesn't seem like it. I mean, I didn't see their name nor the Mariners' name on the ridiculous numbers that would be thrown around for Soto. Um,
Who's in the lead for Soto?
well, nobody really knows. Five teams. Surprisingly, the Blue Jays, the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, I believe, and
And the Chicago White Sox.
no, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Well, it wouldn't hurt them. I mean, you could put Rudy Kazuti in there; it wouldn't hurt him.
You could put Rudy Kozuti in there, and it wouldn't help them either, for that matter.
And there's one more team. But again, Giants and the Everybody was I had to laugh. So people use the X now to just bother people. Really, that seems to be the. It seems they've created a whole platform that does nothing but bother people.
It should be X. Oh, bother.
Yeah, yeah, it should be. It really is. It's just. And so somebody tweeted yesterday, the day before, uh, Soto was spotted at SeaTac Airport.
Loading bags onto a heavy for flying out of
And I
flying out of
just,
Seattle for.
yeah, I'm just laughing to myself when I see it, saying they really think that the Mariners are going to play in this kind of environment in this game.
Not even
Um,
close.
Not going to happen. Don't you know? But yet enough people believed it that all of a sudden rumors started to go around and here and there and there. Oh, the Mariners are in this
You
one.
think the Mariners know how to play that game? Have they played the game where you actually bring somebody to town, get them a nice hotel, take them to Ivar's, and walk around the Pike Street Market, let them catch a fish? Is that what the visit looks like
Yeah,
when we're
I think that's what they do. Like they just they have the owner of the team and a couple of the high executives go take them around, show them the beautiful golf courses in Bellevue and the spectacular Snoqualmie Falls, and they take them up to the little restaurant there and have Swedish pancakes, the little thin pancakes, and they go, you could have these every morning if you signed with us,
if you lived here?
and put the little syrup
And
on them and
also,
Scotch
let me show
cream.
you how our home plate is different from all the home plates in all the American League. It's 2 degrees off plumb, and you could work with that to make it to your advantage. Take advantage of this like no other hitter has.
Right.
This could be your home, and we don't tell anybody about the 2 degrees off plumb unless they ask.
We don't.
The league
I
has not
mean,
asked so far.
you know, unfortunately, somebody spilled the beans last year,
But nobody's
so we
paying
had to move it
attention to
back
it.
for a couple of games. But once the inspectors left for Major League Baseball and the umpires union, because they were getting complaints that their umpires felt cockeyed after they had come to, people were leaning with their heads all the way over like this when they were at the airport. They couldn't figure out why.
They felt nauseous. Now,
Well, it was least.
is it nauseous or is it nauseated? Or can it be either?
I think it could be either. Well, anyway,
When I first got to the University of Miami, I noticed the girls from the East Coast use the word nauseous. Oh, I'm nauseous. Oh, don't do that. It makes me nauseous.
is,
Oh, did you see that guy? He makes me nauseous.
is that anxious? Does that go along with anxious, nauseous?
I was rushing to class. Now look at me, I'm nauseous. And I was going, these people are more nauseous than West Coast girls. They have a nauseous failsafe setting that's different. And
Well,
I thought,
West Coast girls have been through earthquakes.
and I wanted to say, you say you're feeling nauseous. Does that mean that you're nauseated? Is it the same thing? And we never really got to the bottom of that. In fact, my questions made them, you know what, nauseous.
Yeah, how long? When you are nauseous, how long does it take you to get unnauseous?
Well, we never got that far. It didn't get much further than that new guy from California is kind of strange. He's talking about being nauseated. I don't know what that is, and it makes me nauseous.
Well, that's nauseating.
Is your stomach upset? Is this a physical malady that we can identify and locate? Or is it just a body feeling that sweeps over you like elation? Or
Oh man.
there's no real answer to that. And just the use of the word that it seems different from one coast to the other.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been used the proper way on one side or the other, and I don't think we'll ever be able to figure out which side. it's used correctly on. Do we? Can we?
I
Will
hope
we?
I hope it, I hope it remains one of the great unanswered questions of our time. Is being nauseous like being is it the same as being nauseated?
So my question to you, Michael, is what will the Giants do now?
It's going to be mostly like the Biden administration for the rest of the term. You just pretend that nothing is happening. The wheels of a new government are beginning to turn, and it's ominous. And Elon Musk is already t- texting out the names of true government workers that he's outlined for his plan to fire people he's going to blow out as soon as he gets his hands on the reins of government. The alternative from the Democratic side is to just pretend that none of that's happening. That's not happening.
So
I'm,
you don't think they'll be in on any of the other, not just the free agent pitchers? What do they have to trade? I mean, is there anything in that system that says, okay, let's go to the White Sox because everybody is after the one pitcher that they have on the team?
if you're looking
Seems like
for a
everybody wants to sign him, and now that Snell's off the market,
if you're looking for a
there's going
full
to be a rush to
variety,
him.
Vinny, we have a full variety of players in all positions, infield and outfield, who can hit 230 in any league. Guys who will have 6 home runs and 12 errors and maybe hit 240. We got those guys. If you need
So you're
somebody like that,
basically saying that the only trading partner really for the Giants would be the Mariners.
right? And we'll probably trade that outfielder back. We traded him. Let's see, you traded him to us. We traded him to you.
Ford,
So
right? What was
it's
it?
your
Was it Mike Ford?
it's your turn to trade him back to us, and we'll put him on the taxi squad. He'll be
If you
injured
jump
reserve.
on I-5 right by the ballpark, you'll see a sign that says Edgar Martinez Way. Or you get off, um, go down the ramp. But if you go up the ramp and start heading toward Tacoma, you'll see another sign that says Mike Ford Highway, and it
I thought it
goes
was going to
all the
say
way to San Francisco.
thought it was going to say Edgar Martinez. No way.
That poor guy, man. I mean, it's hard to say he's poor. He's getting paid $900,000 a year to go back and forth,
To drink beer at
which
home.
I'd gladly take because I don't live in a big house like he probably has to live in, to keep up appearances. So I'm good with my one room here and 900 and 800 in the bank. Um, but so you don't see, even with Buster Posey and you just don't see the Giants making some good moves here, huh?
No moves. No moves whatsoever. Except that restless feeling you have when you know you have to get up, but you've got a warm spot and you think that's going to save you, but you know you can't stay there. But it'd be nice if you could, but you can't. So you have to get up and make coffee. Well, that's where the Giants are. It's time to make coffee. And they just can't get out of bed.
And they don't have it. Not only can they not get out of bed, but it doesn't seem like they have nothing but decaf around.
Oy. Do the Mariners still serve those tasty insects upstairs? Do they have chocolate covered or hot
I don't
sauce
know.
covered?
Chocolate covered grasshoppers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a fan. I didn't go near it. Um, although I was watching something the other night. Oh, it was 90 Day Fiance where they were dining on chicken intestines.
The idea of the chicken breast was just too unsavory for them. They went right for the intestines.
I guess they look like long strings of spaghetti.
Do they fry them?
Yeah, oh yeah, they fry them up and some kind of red sauce, I guess.
A hot
I hope
sauce?
because they're pretty red when they start sucking them down. But it's definitely a delicacy that I, you know, I fully see at the ballpark.
Did they get a protein high from the chicken intestines?
I don't know. You would think that they would though, right? Oh, the Red Sox were the other team in the Juan Soto sweepstakes,
That makes
and
sense.
it may be according to John Paul Morosi of everywhere. Red Sox, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Blue Jays. Well, he's been around. He's been. I mean, every time you see him, he's on a different Fox, or he was here for a while. And every time, he's. I mean, he's a good reporter. Don't get me wrong. That's probably why you see him. He's probably gotten hired away from other people more times than you would ever believe.
I wonder what the Dodgers do in their visits that other teams are not doing. Is it all just about the money? Sit down. I want to talk to you about money. Do you understand the idea? Do you understand anything about high finance? Are you good with money? Have you saved your money? Have you allowed for your future to be taken care of with the millions of dollars you're making every year?
When you're
We can take
talking
care of
about
that.
when you're talking about that kind of money, you probably have had somebody go over that with you, and you're trying to figure out what park do you want to play in, what bunch of fans do you want to play in front of, what's a good crowd for you. I mean,
Can you
as
give me
far
that
as
any thought?
electricity and
Yeah.
fans, towns and places like that, two of the teams on that list give you the automatic high of what a player must want for that, and that of course is the Yankees and the Mets. Now the Dodgers give it to you in a different way, in a more mellow way, but it's there still. It's a
It's
great
LA.
crowd to play in front of.
It's the way LA conducts itself around guys who are getting paid too much to be actors or producers or makeup
Yeah,
artists.
yeah. It's you get your guest appearances on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Used to be Carson,
What about the
and
guy
now
from
it's
ES? What about the guy from ESPN with the tiny widow hands?
Pat McAfee.
And by the way, Aaron,
Rogers.
yes, my brain won't let me consider his full name. Was on the Pat McAfee show and says that if he plays next year, guess who he wants to play for?
49ers.
No, unfortunately, it's the Jets. He's
Oh, so
con-
now he's healing he's changed his vision, huh?
Yep, he's changed his total vision. That if he plays and he hasn't made up his mind, it looks good that he'll be a Jet yet another time, yet another season. And
So
then I,
what would have to happen? What would they have to do? Fire all the parking lot attendants for that to happen?
he wants the stadium to be empty so he can concentrate.
you know, out of all the people you would make that joke about, he's the one guy I could believe that would actually walk into an office and say that to a general manager.
And it's
Look
the
at my
same.
numbers during COVID.
It's the same thing. Same thing for games on the road. He plays at Lambeau. He doesn't want anybody there.
There's
Plays it.
too many people at Lambeau that hate me.
Also, they're yelling all the time. They're yelling and they're upset and they're
And
boisterous and obstreperous.
and why are these people having to wear masks and makeup? What's going on here? Why is that a thing with these people?
It just doesn't make good sense. Take your ivermectin and get out of here. But for now, if there are going to be people there, they have to be quiet. They must be quiet so I can concentrate.
You know, I,
Why do I get sacked so many times? Because it's so loud in here, I can't hear the big tackle coming. If it were quiet, I'd hear that tackle coming. I would know he was about to get me and I would get rid of the ball.
I
But I can't hear. It's
oh,
too damn loud in here.
oh my. Uh, it reminds me of several years ago. Springsteen came to town, and he was doing that. What was the thing where he was doing all the Woody Guthrie songs? He was in that period.
The planet
So
is your land.
yeah, when you went to the arena, they handed you a card. I still have the card, and it said that we would ask that you please adhere to these rules during tonight's performance. No dancing. Please do not leave your seat during a song. Uh, just a laundry list of things that they didn't want you to do.
Don't yell Jungle Land when you're singing
Don't
those
yell,
languages.
right? Don't. And it was. I actually did a piece on it on Cairo. That how in the world can any self-respecting Bruce Springsteen fan go to a Bruce Springsteen show and just sit in their seats?
And be treated
Now,
like a usurper, somebody who showed up uninvited to Thanksgiving dinner.
yeah, I mean, how do you how do you swing with that? Now, later we saw that Broadway, but that's a different setting. You go to a Broadway play, or a Broadway of a performance, you expect to sit in your seat, not yell, and not scream, and not do all of the kind of insane stuff that people tend to do at rock and roll shows. It's a different animal.
Don't make this a situation, okay?
But I remember, and so this is kind of like Aaron Rodgers pulling a Bruce Springsteen, saying, "Hey, everybody, be quiet."
And I mean quiet. I want to be able to hear that tackle coming across the line.
Yeah, and he's only 380 pounds, so he doesn't make a lot of noise like not like the 430-pound guys.
They make noise.
They make noise. You can hear them grunting and gasping and doing all the stuff that 430-pound guys do when they're trying to move fast.
Gasping. I like that word.
Yeah, yeah. They're out of air. They're out of breath. Listen to any one of my my voiceovers, and you'll hear it.
They're out of
Um,
patience.
well, yeah, it's just people that don't have the timing of how to breathe when they're performing. But anyway, um, well, yeah. So I guess you got not much to be thankful for on the baseball front. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that the Mets seem to be in the competition for this guy. For Juan Soto, I don't think they were going after Blair. I think Soto is the guy that they're totally focused on, although they do have to shore up some of their pitching because they lost a few guys. And but there's not many pitchers that are on that roster right now of the Mets that you look at and say, "My God, my team wouldn't survive." Manea probably is one that comes to mind, but I don't know. There's a lot of pieces there that maybe had their best year last year.
Yeah.
So you could
Do you dare invest in them?
right. So do you invest in a 32 or 33-year-old pitcher like they did a couple of years ago with the two guys from Detroit and wind up getting nothing for them.
Yeah.
Scherzer, gave him the only thing Scherzer gave him. He was entertaining.
And also a spot on the roster for a younger pitcher because Scherzer was on the IR over and over
Right.
again.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be it's interesting in that there's a lot of good free agents in play. There's a lot of money to be thrown around, and some of these teams will be able to make some nice pickups here. There should be some decent trades going along. I mean, for me, I want to see the Mets re-sign Pete Alonso. That's the one that I don't want to go away.
Known as the polar bear.
Known as the polar bear. You don't want to see him go away because he's not just for the fact that he owns now maybe the most prolific home run in Mets history. Maybe the greatest home run in Mets history. Might even be the greatest play in Mets. Well, I still think Mookie Wilson hitting the ball between Bill Buckner's legs It's probably the
You know,
greatest play, greatest moment
part
in
of the
Mets history.
part of the baseball theory that says hit it where they ain't, and they weren't there that day.
Well, but he was right there. I mean, he was. I mean, the ball went through his legs. He couldn't have been any closer to it. He hit it where they was, and that ball was just still going. It was going where it was going, no matter what. So
What about the Pirates? The Pirates got anybody that the Giants can have?
well, yeah. I mean, I guess you could probably talk the Pirates into trading anybody for anybody. Although
Except their crazy starting pitcher.
they've moved some pieces around in the front office and signed a couple of guys in the front office that look like they may start to think about going in a little bit of a different direction. Now, I always say this about the Pirates, and I always get fooled. Um, this team has, and I'm not going to say I'm a 30-year fan of the Pirates or 40-year fan of the Pirates, but this team has kind of become one of my favorite teams, just like the Steelers have become one of my favorite teams from spending time there and respecting the sports fans there and seeing what they sometimes go through,
Covering their poor ups and downs.
especially with the Pirates, because the Pirates seem to go through a few stretches where they get close, or you start to look at that they put together a really nice team. And then the next year, you look at all of those names, and 50% of them are somewhere else.
Doing the same thing, but better.
There's probably one line on everybody's baseball card that's any good that says Pittsburgh.
Now,
Everywhere else is
there aren't any
now
government workers involved in baseball, are there? Are there
might
people
be.
that the Trump administration is going to dispense with that are currently working in the baseball industry?
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's a few people that work in the government offices in downtown Pittsburgh that have evening jobs as ushers and seat attendants at PNC Park. So it wouldn't shock me if a couple of those people became
Expendable.
peace. Yeah, like here you can find your own seat. If you can't find your own seat, then maybe you shouldn't be going out of the house.
Maybe you have other problems that prevent you from enjoying the game.
So let's give this ticket to somebody who'll pay double the price for it.
Now we're talking like a government worker. By the way, are the Supreme Court justices working for the government? Do they get paid by the U.S. government?
I'm not sure. It seems to me that well, Clarence Thomas, for one, gets paid by the
The
RV Manufacturers Association, and any right wing Republican that you can look up that has some money. I'm sure that I'm sure that that's who he's getting paid by. I
well,
don't know about Alioto and the other ones.
it wouldn't hurt anyone to just spot on
Alito,
the
I should
Supreme
say.
Court
Excuse
because
me.
we're not working with the Supreme Court in a legal sense any longer. They've done their damage. They've acquiesced to all the needs of Donald Trump. Now would be a good time to cut them loose so that they don't grow a conscience. You know how some people become undependable when they have a conscience, when things work on their brain and
Oh,
their soul and their conscience tells them you're going in the wrong direction. You're doing the wrong things. You're not equal to the oath that you took to defend the Constitution.
yeah.
And the solution to that is not to listen to your conscience. It's to be dismissed. Case dismissed. Judge dismissed.
Well,
Department
that's
dismissed.
that's it. When you operate under that power all of your life, one day you don't have that power anymore because a strong man has taken over your government. What do? You either sit there or you retire.
And you know how strong men hate courts.
They're not fans of them. Ask any Batista, and they'll tell you. Ask any strongman dictator, and they'll tell you we don't like the courts. We like all the decisions to be made right here at this desk.
And quickly. We don't like these things dragging on.
You're going to see the weird, except if the case is going against me, then we want it to drag on long enough until the next election when I can get into power and pardon myself.
In fact, that'd be a great. If I had a law firm, it would be I can extend your court case until the next election, no matter where it is, no matter when it is. And as we've learned in America, if you win the election, you're not guilty of anything.
Right?
If you lose the election, you have to defend yourself in court. You don't want to go to court? Win the election. Everything will be forgiven, forgotten, and that's it. That's all.
Isn't Jacoby and Myers is looking for a new angle for their ads, right?
They're good, but you got to be in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, and they've been on that gig a long time. I mean, I remember them back in New York when lawyers could first advertise.
On television, they say, "Call us. We'll tell you how much you can win." If you call them, they just say, "Look, nobody can tell you how much you're going to win before the case is settled. These things take time. Learn how to play the game. We'll talk about how much later." But on
Yeah,
TV, you said you wanted to talk about how much now. Well, we'd love to, but it's premature.
yeah, yeah. Maybe they should just put four. Well, I should say, well, you want to have some live people, but maybe they should do like a four AI, five regular people, normal people.
Oh, there's one way we go to court if you're AI. There's another way to go to court if you're a real person. And being a real person is, I want to make it clear right from the beginning, it's a disadvantage. You're much better off being an AI person.
Yeah, see, that's
They're
what I'm thinking.
and they're better witnesses too.
Yeah, I'm
You get them
thinking
on the
that.
stand.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you go ahead and you create your AI people and you stick them in some robes. This way, everybody is so enamored with AI right now. I mean, if you go on YouTube, all of the commercials you see are about some company and how AI is making our lives easier.
For people who
Personally, I think you're
can
screwing it up.
for people who can speak but not very well, for people who can't write a complete sentence, you can make them sound like a not a fully educated, but a partially educated citizen of the United States.
Well, you can even now for $5 a month have an AI that will turn your voice into almost any celebrity that you want.
Can I be Alex Trebek?
You can be whoever you want. See, that's the great thing about the AI now is that you will be able to virtually do whatever you want, be whoever you want, have the intelligence of whatever you want. The
So
problem is going to be how do I, as the end user of that, tell that it's real?
and why do you want to use it at all? Why do you care whether I can talk like Marilyn Monroe?
Well, it could come in useful in many cases for many people.
Could come in handy if you can talk like Joe DiMaggio, right?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Do a lot of people know what he sounds like? I mean, I would think you would probably be better if you could sound like Howard Stern than Joe DiMaggio.
You see, that's the problem. Fox couldn't get into the dugout when the Yankees had Joe DiMaggio to interview him live during the game. If they had, we'd know more about his voice.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Uh, is that how much are people going to buy it? And the one thing that we are noticing, luckily, and the one thing that the last election has told us, luckily, is how stupid America is in many ways. Not all people,
But a lot of America is
but enough of them.
dumber than a mud fence.
Especially the ones that now say that says, well, no, Donald Trump said that the tariffs wouldn't hurt us.
He said they wouldn't. He said that. He said that.
He said it. Now, I didn't particularly, and Kamala Harris, she just, she didn't have it.
She never said that.
She never said that. She didn't lie to us. She might not have told us what she was going to do for us, but she didn't lie to us.
And we gave her every opportunity to lie to us because she was on every day and she wouldn't do it.
And she could have stood up there and said, I'm not going to touch your Social Security. The tariffs are not going to affect you. We'll get China to pay for those tariffs, which was a real good one because that's the one that knocked Xi right out of his chair. You should have seen that day at the palace. That was a good day.
He was in the Forbidden City and he looked around and he said, we didn't say that, did we? Nobody here said that, did you? You didn't tell Trump that we're going to pay for these tariffs, did you? Did anyone?
And some guy named Paulie stuck up his hand.
You're not going to see Paulie around here no more.
And said, well, maybe I might have said something.
I didn't promise anything.
Oh, okay. Listen, it's been a change in plans.
Clemenza
you got to go to Las Vegas.
Here's your ticket.
Here's your ticket. Wang will drive you to the airport.
And don't forget the cannolis, Wang, like you did last time.
Yeah, you won't see Wang around here or Paulie around here anymore.
Nope. And you can look, but you won't see him.
The ride is just beginning, Michael. It's just beginning.
The only thing we have working in our favor, Vinnie, is that the Republicans, from top to bottom, from stem to stern, from right to left, are as incompetent and as mangle-brained as any political organization in history. They are as incompetent as is actually possible. Yeah. Their inability. I can't wait till they line up their plan for the mass deportations because those are going to be beautiful to watch.
Well, I don't know.
Nothing can possibly go wrong.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, that thing sounds like it's going to have all of the efficiency of government cheese. And we all remember how well. Probably many of us don't remember what government cheese worked out like, but it wasn't good.
I love government ketchup, though. That was a stroke of genius.
I know people that still have bricks of government cheese in their garage, saying this stuff will never go bad.
It wasn't my cup of tea. It just wasn't it was like American cheese with no flavor. So we take it on their government's word that it was actual cheese. It had been made from a milk product somewhere along the line. But there seemed to be no proof of that.
I wouldn't go with that.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Is that a little Italian car?
It's a little motor scooter. It's a little Vespa.
Oh, I see.
And I saw this, and I said,
"Which is
what I'm buying myself for Christmas." And it's a fine representation of Italian machinery.
You still got the Volkswagen?
Stays until Monday.
You don't have to give it back. I talked to him.
I would like that. I would. The only thing I don't like about this car, and I've paid it praises now for the days that I've been driving it, the almost week that I've been driving it. The one thing that I don't like is really bugging the crap out of me is it's one of these cars where you don't even have to take your key out of the pocket. You walk up to the car and the doors open up and this, and then you turn to get out of the car and the car shuts off. You don't have to touch anything. But for some reason, this particular car is set up so if you turn this way while you're driving it, or while you're getting in it, it goes, eh, 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 eh. So I'm sure there's an adjustment to make there somewhere, and I'm going to have to spend a little part of my day today trying to figure that out.
How did your
But
charge last when you left Seattle, drove to Vancouver and back? How was your charge? How
I
long was
had
your
to
charge?
stop on the way back in Bellingham and give it a quick charge to add about, I think I added 85 or 90 miles to it. So it took about 20 minutes to charge it. Um, and then got all the way back with no problem.
And do you have a charger at the house for your electric
Uh,
vehicles?
I don't have a charger at the house. No, I have to go down to the supermarket or to the local Volkswagen dealer here happens to be a couple of blocks from my house, so I go over there and charge it.
What about
Um,
Dick's? Doesn't Dick's have a charger?
there's a charger in that same lot, but not in front of Dick's. It's the grocery store is like right in the same lot with Dick's.
Yeah.
So I could. The problem is when you go to a place like that to charge it, it takes you a while to get out of there because people come over and they're looking at it. I mean, I've never had more people come over to a car, except maybe for the Corvette, and want to not only look at it but want to like open the doors and get inside and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm seriously thinking of taking this thing downtown tomorrow and charging 50 cents admission to get in. What the heck? It's like a carnival thing. People don't really believe it's there. So and it's great to see it evokes so much emotion in people. You have the older gray haired guys that you can see were surfers in California and now have moved up to Washington, and
So
their friend had one, and we took road trips. I even had a couple of guys talking to me about the Field of Dreams and the way when Kinsella goes back to Boston to get James Earl Jones and puts him in the Volkswagen van, and they're driving out and they pick up Lightning. Uh, there's just that there's that nostalgic feeling.
road trip.
Yeah, well, we've done one. We're going to do another road trip on Friday out to Leavenworth. That ought to be a lot of fun.
You
And
got
it's a
snow out
great
there?
road trip car because it's got all this room. I mean, it's got a phenomenal amount of room in it for a box that's fairly small. It has way more room in it than you would ever expect. It's clearly the
That's going to be
roomiest.
it's going to be a big sales point. Big
They'll
roomy
sell all they
box.
can make. Yeah, yeah. I think they'll sell all they can make at least for the first 4 or 5 years. So if you want one, you probably should go and sign up now for next year because I think they've already taken all their orders for the 2025,
And if your
and so
uncle is
now
If your uncle Scrooge
we're moving
McDuck,
into
tell him you need 75
2026.
grand.
Excuse me.
If your uncle is Scrooge McDuck, tell him you need 75 grand to get going.
Prepare to spend 75 to $80,000 for this thing, without dealer markup and dealer adjusted and all this other stuff, um, which can go for a lot of money. But prepare to spend, prepare to have a large car payment because this thing is going to cost you every bit as much as a Chevy Tahoe or any one of the big SUVs that you put out there, any luxury car. It's going to cost you in that neighborhood. Um,
And what's a Corvette cost these days? 130?
if you buy a high powered one, you can. I mean, you can buy a base Corvette for under $70,000 if
So
you
the
just
Corvette
want a
is less than the
Corvette.
Volkswagen bus.
So you could spend $140,000 and come back with a Corvette and a Volkswagen bus, which is make me happy. I mean, those two would set me up. because I truly, one they're both beautifully styled, well thought out cars.
So Vinny wants to go over to Leavenworth. You say, bring around the car. And you say, which one, the vet or the bus?
Well, that's been my problem for years, Michael. Which one should I take? I'm one of the few guys that have been lucky enough, and you've experienced too, that if you are going to go on a wine tasting trip and you say, which one do you want, the red or the white? You're not talking about the wine. You're talking
No,
about which car should I take, the red or the white?
it depends. It's going to color the whole day. It's going to decide whether you have a great time or not. It's going to be that great ride home or not. So you don't want to make a mistake and pick the wrong car.
Well, then you go for the rosé.
Yeah.
You get right in the middle.
Oh, you
Uh,
drive the vet. You drive the vet to the winery. You drive the bus home.
You can do that. You can have the vet trailer to the winery. You could come up with something like that. I've seen crazier things in my life than something like that.
Of course.
Um, what did they? I'm trying to think. There was an event I went to where they had a Corvette, and then they also had. I think it was like Run to the Sun of a bunch of years ago. They had like you got out of the Corvette and you went immediately into, I believe it was the Nissan, uh, or the Infinity Q60 SUV, the big Armada, the Nissan Armada would be the Nissan version of it, and it was totally two different, two
Mm.
ends of the spectrum.
Culture shock. I can't drive
Right,
this thing. I was just got out of the vet. I cannot drive this thing.
right. One you're squeezing into, and the other one you're stretched out. It's fun. Anyway, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
We're getting together with Steve and Kailani. My daughter and son-in-law. Steve's sister is married to Billy. They live in Hollywood. We're going there.
Hollywood.
Steve's sister from Rhode Island is out here with her family. They've been to Universal and the zoo and places like that. They brought the weather, they said, so nothing we can say. We can't say anything about that.
They copped to it. They admitted it.
It's family, so you got to just take it.
You just admit it. You say, okay, sorry the weather's not nicer.
I'm in charge of the poo poo plate, so I've got prosciutto, salami, cheese, olives. I'm going to make a tomato collection, bacon.
You're gonna cut a tomato like in fancy to put it in the middle of the platter.
Tiny tomatoes in dark vinegar with pepper.
That sounds good. I oddly enough am in charge of almost everything, but my sister is up here and her husband, and they're going to help. And Bill is going to be decorating the house. My friend Bill is going to. He's taking on the charge of putting up all the lights on Thanksgiving Day.
By
So we're
himself,
going
he's got to have a talented assistant.
he doesn't at this point. I think my sister's husband may, because I can't climb any ladders. That could result in tragedy. So I
But
think he'll
what
probably help.
happens to the balance when you get to be 70, 75, 80, 85? What happens to the balance? Because then there's no medical explanation. They don't say, no, you're 65, you're getting ready to retire. Remember, stay off ladders. Why? I can't explain why. Just don't get on a ladder because your balance is not what it was. But what
You want
happened
me
to
to
it?
take? You want me to take a stab at it?
Yes,
Your fluid in your ears
is substandard.
starts to dry up, and you lose your equilibrium. You
And you
lose
can't,
your
it's not like a car where you can check it and top it off.
right. That fluid is. I mean, I'm sure that they'll develop a way to someday supplement it or fix it, but for right now, your that that equilibrium, that fluid inside your inner ear that keeps you like this may have a little less in one than the other, a little more in one than the other, and they separate, it vibrates, whatever, um, and it can really screw up your balance.
Can
Not
you,
just climbing ladders, I mean just walking.
yeah, can you check that fluid and like so you feel like you're on a ladder all day long?
Well, I feel, I get a thing because mine has dried up a little bit, and I get a thing where I sometimes I'll lose my balance, or the whole room will start spinning.
The room
Um,
needs to be topped off.
the room needs to be topped off, and I don't know that they're doing that right now. I think it's much more. Well, here's how you deal with it. Here's how you live with it. Thank you very much. Please sign this, and our insurance company, our office will take care of it with your insurance company.
Do you think Leon Mux, I think that's his name, Leon Mux, is that right?
Leon Mux, yeah, Leon Mux, the world's richest Ming.
Does he have anything to do with topping off the ear fluids? Because he should get involved with that. It'd be much more lucrative than trying to clean up the federal government.
Uh, and probably rewarding, unless he wants to keep everybody off balance.
Oh, Vinnie, I hadn't thought of that. Leon Mux, don't do that.
An
Mr.
off
Mux,
balance
please.
nation is a subservient nation. Thomas Jefferson taught us that back in the 1930s.
Thomas Jefferson, the first guy in the of the founding fathers who said, get off that step ladder, Benjamin Franklin. You don't know what you're messing with. The fluid
Well,
in your ears needs to be topped off.
Franklin said, listen, balance is the least of my problems. Let me hang on to this tight for me for a second, Tom.
Let me hang on to the fine ladies in the Parisian downtown.
Yeah,
Where are
I'm
you?
gonna
I'm downtown. I'm downtown Paris. Don't worry about me.
I'm gonna go hit the Rue Saint Denis and call you when I'm done. Please send somebody for me.
Please send a car. Send the Corvette.
Or
I'm in a mood. Send the damn Corvette.
send a Corvette. All right, Mikey. Listen to everybody out there that listens to this show on a weekly or however many times you listen.
We're
Thank you so
thankful.
much. I would believe we're thank you. You and I both joined saying that we're thankful on the days you listen, and even more thankful on the days that you listen. And we enjoy the days that you listen.
And if you pick a day not to listen, pick a Tuesday or a Thursday. Those are perfect.
Best days not to listen to the show because if you turned us on, you'd find not much there.
We work 3 days a week. That's plenty. In fact, that's the way radio's heading these days. No one's hiring disc jockeys and announcers, radio personalities. They're just firing them. But they can hire us because we only are willing to work 3 days a week, and it's a savings to the bottom line. And
Right.
here's my message to all general managers: send the fucking Corvette.
Well, send the Volkswagen van if you want both of us because
Yeah,
it'll
that's
take
right.
a few minutes to get in that thing and strap in. But no,
But if
you're
I
right,
slept late,
Michael.
you're sending the car. Send the Corvette.
This is the time of year, and we've seen it already, where radio owners deem it, radio group owners deem it as the best time of year to fire people.
It's the time of the year that they go in a slightly different direction.
Right? If you haven't been fired around Thanksgiving or Christmas, you
Yeah.
haven't worked in radio.
In fact, I don't know what
And
your manager was thinking. He wasn't. Your manager wasn't even trying if he didn't fire you at Christmas time. But what was he thinking?
he was thinking about getting out of there himself. But
But we
before
had,
I go, let me take care of a few people.
but we had great ratings. Yes, you did have great ratings, and those used to be important. But I forgot to mention to the staff during our last pizza party that they're no longer important. That's not how we make decisions. We make decisions about when we have to go in a slightly different direction. I'm going down the hall. I'm going to the men's room, but I'm taking a slightly different direction. There, done. You're out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in an industry, you know, when we started this, I remember somebody saying, this is a great job because you can't get replaced in the industry. You can move from one place to another, but they're always, but you still have to have somebody because the law requires that you have somebody at the station 24 hours a day, and what machine can they get to do this?
Not anymore.
And now it's just almost all done by machine, and you don't have to keep the station on 24 hours. You don't even have to have a station anymore. Uh, Go turn on YouTube. Everybody that you know has a
Is
YouTube channel now.
is there waiting for you?
All you got to do is put your name and your email address, and figure out how to use the camera on your computer. And you
And,
too.
and now they're bringing back dead disc jockeys. The real Don Steele, Wolfman Jack, they're all Charlie Tuna, all coming back to do daily shifts in San Diego and Los Angeles.
That's got to be scary, man. In one way, it's kind of good because you can hear what these great people sounded like. But that's not the motivation here. The motivation is Herb Tarlett thinks that he can run out there and sell this to the Happy Rest Funeral Home.
And so he will.
And so he will.
With the Thanksgiving special.
Exactly. You buy 1 week and we'll give you 3.
Have great luck with your Italian dressing. That's the Italian sausages in your dressing is a stroke of genius.
Italian sausage. We got them upstairs. Everything is ready to go. Although I saw something this morning, Michael, that I'm thinking of having some fun and doing it just for the heck of it. So I saw a video today on White Castle stuffing.
He's still in my heart. Maybe next year or for Christmas. Maybe do it for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I can wait that long. I may have to run out and get a couple of boxes of White Castles and see if I can just put it as a little side dish. And maybe nobody will even know the difference. We'll do like one of those blind taste tests.
I look forward to the results. And send the Corvette.
Mrs. Jones from Tenafly, New Jersey. All right, Mikey.
All right, Vinnie.
See you next Monday because I'm going to take Friday off.
I will too, man. If you're taking it, I'm taking it.
All right. Yeah. See you Monday. Peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
Bottle of wine. Manischewitz goes great with the special stuffing. No, it doesn't. But what a wine anyway.
Just what a wine anyway. If good enough for Sammy Davis Jr., good enough for Vinnie Riccici.
Use it as a universal solvent. It's great to loosen screws.
It's where they get WD-40 from.
That's where they got the idea. Manischewitz wine. You need a bolt that needs to be the bolt will come out beautifully with Manischewitz.
It'll come out screaming, saying, "Why did you do to me?"
All right, my friend.
See you, Mikey. Bye.